here we go. It's time to delve further into this series. That was really anticlimactic. Hi. Well, hello peoples of the internet, my name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. So guys, it is finally time for me to be reading the second book in the 50 Shades of Grey series, which I have been putting off doing this because when I read 50 Shades of Grey, it ended up putting me in a severe reading slump where I just didn't read anything because the book traumatized me. And but like at the same time, I say like it traumatized me, but I still want to keep reading. That's the thing. Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like I want to keep going? I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, I feel like it's time for me to read the second one because I actually watched this movie called 365 DNI, which is on Netflix. If you've seen the movie, you know what the movie is. It's not a good movie. No, it isn't. But once again, just like how I felt with the 50 Shades of Grey movies, it's a guilty pleasure. I can't help it. Like, I know it's not a good movie. Like, it's literally not. But I just cannot help but like it at the same time. I need help. So yes, because I watched that movie, I was like, oh my god, I think it's time for me to read the second book of 50 Shades of Grey. Even though it's Pride Month, didn't really want to be reading 50 Shades of Grey during Pride Month to like taint my reading experience for this month. But we're doing it. So, here she is in all her glory. 50 Shades Darker, that is what it's called. We've gone from 50 Shades of Grey to 50 Shades Darker. Is the book gonna get darker though? That's the question. If you guys don't remember what I said in the first video, which also if you have not seen the first video where I read 50 Shades of Grey for the first time, I will link it in the card. I'll also leave a link to the video in the description and you should go check that one out before you continue on with this video. But basically, if you guys remember from that video, I said I have seen all of the movies and they are a guilty pleasure of mine. I have no shame admitting it that those movies are a guilty pleasure of mine. Like, I have no shame in it. But what I can remember that happens in this book, I just remember there is a moment where we have like Jacob, because as I only realized in the last video, I only found out that this was Twilight fanfiction. And there's a moment in this book, I know because it's in the movie, where we have a Jacob situation that happens in Eclipse. We know what I'm talking about, that moment. But other than that, that's all I can really remember about the movie. What else? I know obviously we get a lot more about Anna's job in the publishing world. I know I remembered that because I want to work in publishing and I was like watching the movie like, she's living my dream job. So I just remember all of those parts, but other than that, I don't really remember too much. I don't think this is the book where Anna gets her own private bodyguard, because in the movie when she gets her own private bodyguard, Brant Doherty, that's the actor that plays him. Oof. He is stunning. But anyways, it is time to read and we shall see what's going to happen. Of course, this video is going to contain spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled for this book, do not continue watching this video because I am going to be openly talking about every single thing that happens in this book. And also, this is going to be mature content, so bear that in mind. And final thing before I start reading is I usually talk about the cover and what the cover means. And in the last one, I said how it was just like a tie and it represents Christian because he's a businessman and stuff like that. But my innocent, stupid brain forgot to realize that usually a tie is used to tie someone up and like for I was stupid. But with this one, I do know that this mask has something to do with a party that happened. Also, I know this is stuff people wear during that. So yeah, time to go read. Oh, that's really, oh. He's going backwards. Oh, he's still spinning. He's still going. Anyways, I'm going to start reading. Okay, everybody. So it has been like a week and a half maybe since I did that introduction to this video and I haven't actually started the book. But I am going to be starting it right now. Also, before I continue on with this book, I'm very much aware the door behind me is open. Now, it just won't close. I keep going to close it and then when I sit down to vlog, the door just keeps opening and it's kind of creepy because I'm like, is there a demon coming to get me because I'm summoning it by reading this book? Who knows? Maybe I am. So yes, it is time to begin. We are returning to the world of Christian Grey. Okay, so it didn't take long for me to come back to reality to remember how much I hate. I nearly said miss Christian Grey. I did definitely not miss him. Why did that nearly come out of my mouth? Is my inner conscience speaking my real thoughts? Did not miss him. Don't know why that nearly just came out of my mouth. I meant to say it did not take me long before I realized how much I hate Christian Grey and like to remember all of that, because they have been broken up for about 5 days. 5 days. And Anna is like being really upset. She's like overthinking, like, oh, should I have done it? Should I not have done that? Which honestly, you know, makes sense. I get it. Like, I can't speak from any personal experiences with boys in a relationship. But I would imagine that if you leave someone, you would definitely be like overthinking, like, oh, should I have done that? Should I not have done that? Like, I assume that's a very natural thing to think about. So I understand why she's thinking like that. But Christian is just being weird. Basically, she forgot about her friend Jose, who has this like art expedition or like show going on, and she's going to that. So basically, she forgot that she was going to that show, and she didn't have like a lift to get there because Christian was the one who gave her her new car, so she doesn't actually have a car to get to the show, and it's like an hour and a bit away or whatever, wherever she's going. So he offered to drive her there and like give her a lift. He basically emailed her and asked her if she wanted a lift. So like, that's just kind of overstepping a boundary, I think, on his part, but like, it's Christian Grey, what do we expect? And then basically she's leaving work to get into the car to go for the lift with Christian. And he basically notices Anastasia's boss named Jack. He's like the company of this publishing place that she's working for and who she's assistant of. And Christian sees him and she's like, oh, who is he and all this kind of stuff. And then she gets straight into the car and he's like, when did you last eat? And then he goes, who's that? Referring to her boss, Jack. And then she goes, my boss. And then he goes, well, question mark, your last meal? And then she says, Christian, that really is none of your concern. I murmur, feeling extraordinarily brave. And then he says, whatever you do concerns me. Tell me. She's not going out with you. You're not in a relationship. I can't get over his controlling and like how much he just wants to own her like she's a piece of meat.
A few moments later.
I'm literally on page 14. She got into the car. He mentioned, how are you? She said, if I said I was fine, I would be lying. And now she's straddling him and kissing him and they're back together basically. It took 14 pages, people. 14 pages. Anyway, the inner goddess is back. Literally, please don't bite your lip, Anastasia, he whispers. I glance up at him, releasing my lip. I want him, here, now, in the elevator. How could I not? You know what it does to me, he murmurs. Oh, I still affect him. My inner goddess stirs from her 5-day sulk. I just can't. Like, that's literally just one of the things I'm so glad is not in the movies. Like, could you imagine watching the movie and then constantly hearing, oh my god, my inner goddess is thriving. Like, my inner goddess is ready. My inner goddess is sulking. Like, could you imagine just constantly hearing that in the movie? No. Like, it's so frustrating to read in the book. Okay, I went to get some jellies because my inner goddess is not thriving. See what I mean? It just won't stay closed. There's literally a demon coming to get me. So they're flying in a helicopter right now because they're going to that party or whatever. And Anna just said something really funny. And I kind of relate. Like, I'm kind of like, okay, it's funny, but like, and it's about Christian Grey, which we don't like. But it's kind of funny and relatable. But basically, he just says that, I've missed your smart mouth, Anastasia, is what he says to her. And then she goes, I gasp. I want to shout, I've missed you. All of you, not just your mouth. That right there, relatable. So Christian's a bit of a hypocrite because he just left the party, him and Anna, like, well, it wasn't even a party, they were literally there for a few seconds. Jose had pictures of Anna for sale. Christian bought them all. They left. That was basically all that happened. And then he basically brings her into like this random alley and just starts kissing her and stuff. And he just goes, "You are mine." Like, ew, the controlling is there once again. And then he has the nerve to just say, where is it? "I have spent all of my adult life trying to avoid any extreme emotion. Yet you bring out feelings in me that are completely alien. It's very ... unsettling. I like control, Anna, and around you that just evaporates." No, it doesn't. He just said, "You are mine," to someone that you're not in a relationship with, that you broke up with 5 days ago. She's not yours. Like, and you're saying, "Oh my god, my controlness just evaporates when I'm around you." Yet you just said about like literally 2 sentences ago that you were claiming that she's yours. That's controlling. Newsflash, that is controlling. So like, hypocrite. He just says it evaporates. No, it doesn't, because it's right there. I'm losing my mind already in this vlog. I'm on page 27. Okay, everyone, so I am in bed now and time to continue reading. I actually didn't even read much today. I barely read anything. I got up to page 52. I stopped mid-chapter. That's like a thing I don't do, is I don't stop books mid-chapter. I always try to get to the end of the chapter before I stop. But I was just like done, because I've heard so many times already in this book, "Oh my," as per usual. I'm pretty sure I said that in the last video with the first 50 Shades book. And then in this one, another thing that I'm noticing that Mr. Grey is saying a lot is "laters, baby." I don't know, it's just it's too much. I could see that as like a cute little thing that you say to someone, like, "Oh, laters, baby." Like, that could be like a thing. If that was in a different book and a different character was saying that, like, I would probably swoon over that. But because it's Mr. Grey, I'm like, I hate it here. Basically, what has happened is she is back from her friend's photography studio thing, and basically her and Mr. Grey have kind of like settled things back to normal, and they're back together basically, and they've changed some of the hard limits that are in it. She still hasn't signed a contract. I think like the whole thing is like she's not signing a contract, like she's been the one that's kind of gonna try to change him. And we found out like that he had an abusive past with like his mother and like people that she was with and stuff like that, which I obviously already knew because I've seen the movies, but they actually didn't really talk about it that much, and I'm pretty sure it's talked about a lot more in the movies. But also, I've only read 52 pages of this book, so maybe they're going to talk about it more a bit later on. Okay guys, so I'm now on page 60, and this really funny part has just happened. So basically, they are now back home in Anastasia's house, and he picked her up from the bar that she was having with like her workmates and stuff, and they've gone back to the house, and obviously it's been a while since they've had sex. That's kind of what's been on their mind, and so they're just like talking whatever, and Anastasia goes, "Would you like something to eat?" I ask, and then he nods slowly, "Yes, you." Anastasia's over here like, "Well, I do be a snack." Okay, so now they have had, we know, they finally did it. But anyways, after they done it, they're like kissing each other like, "Oh my god, I missed you, blah blah blah, whatever, I'm so single, I don't want to read about this." And Christian Grey just has to prove why I hate him even more, because he just is so disgusting, and like, I don't care if it's in like a cutie way, like I just don't like it. And basically what he says is like, "Come cook me some food, wench, I'm famished." He just called her a wench. Like, who the I can't stand this man. Okay everybody, so it is the next morning, and I ended up reading up to page 120 last night, so I'm now up to chapter 6, and I've made that much progress. And basically what happened last night is something happened with vanilla ice cream, and now I'm kind of craving vanilla ice cream. But like, the thing is, I don't think that scene should have made me crave vanilla ice cream, but it is, and now I want it. So I am going to continue reading, but I just wanted to say some stuff before I continue, because I put up my Instagram story that I was reading it and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, are you enjoying it more than the first one, or what's happening?" And honestly, I don't really know, because obviously we know with the first one, like, I didn't really give it a rating or anything after it because it's one of those books where, like, it's not good, but, like, you keep reading because you wanted to know what was going to happen. It's like, you just couldn't stop. And so, like, with this one as well, like, of course, Christian Grey is literally pissing me off so much. I've said that so many times already throughout the vlog. But, like, I don't know. I don't know. Of course, like, the things that bothered me from the first one are carrying over because they're still there. Also, my hood is slowly coming down and you're seeing how long my hair is. Let's not do that. But, like, I feel like I've already talked about that and it's like there's nothing really new that's annoying me. So it's kind of just like continuing on from the first one, if that makes sense. Like, my enjoyment level or whatever is just continuing from the first one. And yeah, I am enjoying that we're getting more of a backstory to Christian and understanding more about him and, like, why he is the way that he is, which, like, is good to know, like, why he's like that, but, like, at the same time, I still don't like him. Nothing really else for me at this current moment in time, but we shall see. That could all change, and we're gonna continue, and we shall see what's gonna happen. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, it gets worse. So I'm up to page 146 and they're basically now at this ball, like the one where they wear the masks. They've basically been doing, like, these auctions for, like, charity, for, like, the charity event that they're doing it for. And Anna basically bought, like, a 3-night stay or something at, like, Christian's property in Aspen. And she spent, like, $24,000 on it because Christian had given her $24,000 directly to her bank account and she didn't want it because she doesn't want his money. So then she just bought something for charity using the $24,000 that he wouldn't take back from her. So that was, like, her way of actually giving the money back without him getting mad. And so now there is a part in here that this was definitely not in the movie and I'm so glad they took it out because this is what's pissing me off. They're having a part where there's this, like, first dance and, like, all these women are just lined up in a row on the dance floor and, like, all of the men have to start bidding as to which one they want to dance with first. And I don't know, I just find that really sexist and disgusting. The way they're saying is, it's, ew, I don't like it. It's like, now, gentlemen, play, gather round and take a good look at what could be yours for the first dance. 12 comely and compliant wenches. Like, why? Why does it have to be written like that? Why? Why? Like, oh, I'm so glad that was taken out of the movie because I hate that. I actually hate it. And now Anna just sold for $100,000 by Christian. Like, he bidded $100,000 on her because someone else was actually bidding against him. He started at 10,000 and then someone went up to 15. They went up as far as 25,000 before Christian just stopped and bidded $100,000 on Anna. Therefore, once again, just buying her. Why? Yeah. Why? Okay, we need to take a moment to appreciate Miss Anastasia Steele because she has moments in this book where she is so sassy and iconic. And, like, it was in the last book too, like, where she was, like, teasing Mr. Grey constantly. And, like, I was living for it because I was like, oh my god, the drama, like, get it, like, be sassy. Show him that who you are, like, know your worth. And she is being so sassy right now and iconic and I'm standing so much, even though, like, Anna does annoy me when she talks about her inner goddess all the time. But there are parts where she's literally iconic because they're still at this ball and they just had their dance or whatever, but Mrs. Robinson, which is basically that older woman that, like, molested Christian when he was, like, 15 years of age, so messed up. And Mrs. Robinson was just like, oh my god, I know that Christian loves you. I'm so happy for you guys, blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, but if you ever hurt him again, I will, like, come and find you and I will hurt you, basically, is what she said. And it's because, like, when Anna left him at the end of the first book, Christian obviously went to Mrs. Robinson to talk about it or something, so that's a bit of tea. But what Anna says back to this threat from Mrs. Robinson is why I'm like, yes, queen, get it, give her what she needs to hear. So basically when Miss Robinson said that, Anna started laughing and Miss Robinson was kind of like, I'm being serious, why are you laughing at me? And Anna says, I'm laughing at your audacity, Mrs. Lincoln. Mrs. Lincoln is her actual name. Mrs. Robinson is what Anna calls her. Like, we stand that she calls her Mrs. Robinson when she's not Mrs. Robinson, she's Mrs. Lincoln. Like, that patronizing, I stan. So, basically what she says is, I'm laughing at your audacity, Mrs. Lincoln. Christian and I have nothing to do with you. And if I do leave him and you come looking for me, I'll be waiting. Don't doubt it. Ugh, iconic. And maybe I'll give you a taste of your own medicine on behalf of the 15-year-old child you molested and probably fucked up even more than he already was. Her mouth falls open. And then this is what Anna continues on to say, and this is why I stand. So she just goes, now if you'll excuse me, I have better things to do than waste my time with you. Oh, we stand. Love it. I love it so freaking much. What would have made it even better is if she had referred to her as Mrs. Robinson to her face. That would have been iconic. Like, to literally call her by the wrong name that you just given to her would have been iconic. That would have just made this whole scene so much better. And the drama just keeps unfolding. They just go home from the event. I'm smiling because of the drama. Wow, I live for the tea so much. But basically, they're on page 169. They're not on page 169. I'm on page 169. I'm sure they're on some sort of 69. You know what I mean? But I am not on that same level. Anyways, I'm on page 169. And in here, basically they just got home from the party and there was an envelope waiting for her that Sawyer, which is one of the other bodyguards, gives to Christian. And then Christian gives it to Anastasia because it's addressed to her. And basically it says, I may have misjudged you and you have definitely misjudged me. Call me if you need to fill in any of the blanks. We could have lunch. Christian doesn't want me talking to you, but I would be more than happy to help. Don't get me wrong, I approve, believe me, but so help me, if you hurt him, he's been hurt enough. Call me. Then there's a phone number and it's signed Mrs. Robinson, and then literally underneath it, Anastasia is like in her inner dialogue and she goes, fuck, she signed it Mrs. Robinson. He told her, the bastard. And then it goes, you told her. And then told who what? That I call her Mrs. Robinson. I snap. The drama. Like that shade. The slight shade of like signing off a letter, Mrs. Robinson, knowing like, it's like, I know you call me Mrs. Robinson. The shade, the drama. I am living for this. Absolutely living. Okay guys, so it's much later obviously. I'm in bed and stuff and I'm up to page 213. But basically I am coming in here right now because if you remember from the last vlog, when it was the scene where Love Me Like You Do, which is like one of the famous songs from the first movie, and it's obviously by Ellie Goulding. We all probably know the song. It's such a great song. But in this one, in the movie, there is an iconic song because it features one of my favorite singers of all time, literally my number one, Taylor Swift, and it is I Don't Want to Live Forever featuring Zayn Malik, which, if you don't know, is from One Direction. So this is a great song, and it's the scene where they go out on his boat, Mr. Grey's boat, him and Anastasia, and like I have to listen to this song while I read this scene, just like I did for Love Me Like You Do with the first book, and I just needed to inform you because it just needs to be done. So I'm gonna push play, I have my earphones in, and I'm going to enjoy this. It's Taylor's part. And the song is over. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We love a bit of Tay-Tay and we love some Zayn. Okay, so I'm now up to page 219. And they're like christening the boat because he's never brought a girl out on this boat. And he's obviously, if he's never brought a girl out, he's never done that. So he's christening it basically. He just said to her, do you have any idea how exquisite your scent is, Anna? It's irresistible. And I'm like, you know what? I feel the same way about chicken nuggets. Okay guys, so it's the next morning and I'm now up to page 367. I have Just a little bit left of the book, about 120 or so pages. I am just getting so bored. This book is so repetitive. I feel like Christian and Anna are having the same conversations like every single page. It's literally, Anna, don't leave me. Christian, I'm not going to leave you. I just don't understand. Anna, please don't leave me. I'm not going to leave you. Then they have sex, and then like literally the next day, it's all over again. Anna, please don't leave me. I'm not going to leave you, Christian. Like, I am just getting bored. So basically what has happened since I last spoke to you, basically Layla, which is one of Christian's exes that was like stalking Anna because she's like obsessed as to why Christian is like loving Anna and didn't love her, and she's kind of figured out like, what did you have that I didn't have? And basically she showed up in Anna's apartment and had a gun, and then Christian like subdued her basically. Oh yeah, now Anna is allowed to touch Christian because he was once again convinced she was gonna leave him, and they had the same conversation they've had again where it's like, don't leave me, I'm not going to leave you. And then he's just like decides like she can finally touch him because obviously he had all this dark past and stuff where he just doesn't like people to touch him, which is understandable as to everything he went through. So then he just like finally like lets her touch him. And now Anna is in her job and her boss is just being like an absolute, we cannot stand, we hate him. He's just being so grumpy and so mean just constantly. I think it's because he asked to go for like drinks with Anna so many times that she said no. Basically it's the end of the workday and it's just him and her, and he goes, well Anna, I think this might be a good time to discuss your misdemeanors. And then he goes, at last, I have you on your own. And then he says, now, are you going to be a good girl and listen very carefully to what I say? I know what's coming if it's like what's in the movie. Like, I know what is coming. And I already hated Jack because obviously I've seen the movie. I know what he does. And I don't want to read about it. Like, I'm tempted to just skip the chapter because I really don't want to read about it. Yeah, we don't like Jack. He's trash. Okay guys, so I'm now up to page 452 and I'm gonna be honest with you, I have been skimming a little bit of this because it's so repetitive, and honestly it's driving me insane how repetitive it is. But I have still been reading and I'm now up to page 452, and basically what has happened is a Christian's helicopter has gone missing, and he was obviously in the helicopter. So maybe there's been a crash, we don't know like what's happened. That's basically is where I am. And yeah, oh, also I forgot to mention, Christian proposed to Anna at like the most unromantic moment. They were like having this big debate about like, oh my god, don't leave me, I won't leave you, blah, 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 all this stuff all over again. And then he just casually goes, marry me. And I'm like, be a bit romantic, come on, like give her the grand spiel, like take her to dinner, then propose, do like this big like thing or something. Don't just like throw it out there saying marry me, like no. Like, we need a little bit of romance, you know? Give us something. Like, it's a big moment to ask someone to marry you. So, like, do something. Don't just throw it out there. Like, do something. Okay, guys. So, I just finished the book. And honestly, I was so bored reading this book. Like, I can't get over how bored I was. The only parts that I really remember loving is, like, the drama between Mrs. Robinson and Anastasia. But, like, I wanted more of it, but we didn't really get that much until near the end. There was a part at the end where, like, Christian and Anna, like, announced that they're getting married and stuff at, like, his birthday party. And Mrs. Robinson was there, and then she comes up and talks to like Anna at the end, and she's like, you're never going to be good enough for him, he can't love anyone, you're not for him, you're a gold digger, all this kind of stuff. And Christian's like, you only taught me how to have sex, we did never love each other, so goodbye. And then Christian's mother comes up and says one of the best lines ever, because she like overheard the story between Anna and Mrs. Robinson, so now she knows that like Christian was doing this with Mrs. Robinson. Well, Mrs. Robinson was doing it to Christian at such a young age, and his mother now knows. And what she says to him is so iconic. Like, we stan Grace. She basically goes up and she goes, take your filthy paws off of my son, you whore, and get out of my house now. Oh, stan, that is icon status right there. And yeah, I just loved that like so much. Like, I just love a sassy moment. Like, I live for the sassy moments in books. That's what I like. I like the drama. I live for that stuff. And yeah, and then at the end of the book, basically because of what Jack like met a pass at Anna during that moment that I was talking about when she was in the office with him, he got fired because Christian bought the company that Anna works for. So he was able to get Jack fired. And then at the end of the book, we see that Jack is like watching the party happening and he's very pissed. So clearly he's going to do something in the next book and he's going to get his revenge because he's just very angry. So that is basically what has happened. That is everything. Don't know what I'm gonna rate this. I think I'm just not gonna give it a rating on Goodreads again. Like, I'm not gonna give it any rating like out of 5 stars or anything. Definitely didn't have that great of a time reading it, and I really don't know if I want to read the 3rd book, but at the same time, I just feel like I've read the first 2 now. I may as well just read the 3rd one and just finish it up and do a little wrap up, you know? Like, we just love that, like, progress and development and completion. We love that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video nonetheless, and I shall see you all next time in my next video. So goodbye, guys.